Well, hello and welcome back, my body language buddies. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and we are together again on Alive. And this is great. So many of you from everywhere around the world. That is great. We have a great topic today. A very interesting, a fascinating topic. Why does Meghan Markle keep copying Wallis Simpson's life? What is her plan? Why does she do that? Why she keeps doing that? I would like to know, what do you think? Well, we get started. From sunny California, Michigan, USA, Netherlands, Yorkshire, oh my God, everywhere, Argent, Canada, Delaware, Los Angeles, Norway, Mexico, Algeria, New York, Wales, everywhere. This is amazing. Thanks for being here. Thanks for coming back. And if you haven't done so, this is your opportunity. Hit the like button. That helps a lot to bring more body language buddies to our live streams, so we can have a even more fun time, better time. So we have this picture. This picture is right here. This picture right here with the white dress. Remember, that was Meghan's latest appearance with the royal family on the Jubilee celebrations, when she was going with Harry to the Thanksgiving service. And someone unearthed Wallis Simpson wearing the exact same dress, and of course, you know who copied. You know who copied who. And we already had that with the dress that Meghan chose for her Oprah interview, and a couple more examples of dressing. But it's not only in the way what you wear. Now we can't be you can't deny that Meghan chooses the most impactful moments to copy Wallis Simpson. And I want to, with this video, I want to do two things. First, point out why is Meghan doing that, and second, make a review of what was Wallis Simpson marriage to into the royal family like, and why was so controversial. Okay, yes, she's trying to channel. We're going to talk about that too. Where is your comment? Where is your comment? Where is your comment? Oh, she was trying to channel Diana. Some of you commented. I'm sorry about that. So many comments. I even put slow mode because sometimes the comments are so fast. Yeah, I never realized she did this. Knew she was trying to channel Diana. Yeah, but when you have this is unmistakable. This is almost a copycat. Okay, we're going to understand. This is the picture that surfaced on Twitter and was featured on Express article. Wallis Simpson in 1951 and Meghan Markle in 2022. It's exactly, you can see this, exactly the same dress. Well, maybe Wallis Simpson didn't have mics on it, but we can say that it's pretty much the same dress. Right? Same the hat. Maybe Meghan had some kind of wires in the hat. We can't possibly know. That's what we think is going on. There's a couple examples. Yeah, you know that. Well, Edward was really happy back then. At least we have a happy Harry picture in this one. But we're going to start right now understanding this. Wallis Simpson's marriage to Edward VIII was shockingly miserable. Now, this is something that I feature on my Twitter account. You can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram. Right there, you have in the ticker text. You can pitch me any ideas for videos. This is a great pitch that I got on Twitter, so I'm making this live stream thanks to you, my body language buddies. But well, this New York Post article is really thorough in its content. The story of a calculated social climber. That sounds familiar, right? From Pennsylvania, who managed to claim the title of Duchess and caused England's first abdication in the process, has fascinated people for decades. Wallis Simpson, for her part, would have preferred to have been queen, because of course not. And this desire drove her to pursue Edward VIII in the first place, forging a relationship that appeared rich and romantic to onlookers, but was fraught with deception and opportunism at its core. Now, you know that at a relationship that appeared rich and romantic, you know, well, we have a lot of that, not only for any kind of celebrity. And Hollywood is full of that. And this is not Hollywood, this is the royal family. And this, I have to say that Meghan and Harry have had very cute moments. This picture, you remember this picture, right? This is an iconic picture, a great picture, amazing picture, I have to say. Maybe the way they were under the rain, they were natural, you know, people loved that back then. A lot of people loved Meghan back then. They thought, hey, this could be it. This could be the one to have some fresh air into the monarchy. Maybe this was it. And they had those cute moments. And the problem is that thanks to all the reports, including Tom Bauer's book that I'm going to mention a couple times, we know what was going behind closed doors. Those scheming. Some of you are saying that this is their only good picture. They have had a couple good pictures. The engagement pictures were quite good. Maybe was not appropriate that they had this lake between them and the photographers. That they had this barrier that they want to be detached. But those were nice pictures too. I owe you a complete analysis of that engagement interview, so much that we should read into it thanks to what we know already. And it was my appreciation of Tom Bauer's book at first that it said nothing new, and I was wrong. It said a lot of things, but you had to read between the lines. And continuing with the New York Post article, it was a total mess, says Andrew Morton. He was utterly adoring, and she had to put on an act, realizing that he had given up the throne of the greatest empire in order to marry a twice divorced American. Well, this is part of the coincidences. A twice divorced American. If she kicked him to the curb, she'd be the most reviled woman in British history. Now, we have, of course, those intersections in time. The the claw. It seems that there was a Simpson claw too. Who would have thought? Thanks, California Dreaming on Twitter, for pointing this out. If you pitch me anything on Twitter, I can feature you in my videos. I have no problem with that. It will be great doing it. And this was a great reference, almost a copy, another copycat. And we're going to talk about that UN speech too. Anne Marie, I never thought about Wallis Simpson when seeing Meghan's outfits. Everybody was just focused on the similarities to Diana's dresses. How did you notice that, Jesus? Thanks to Twitter and Instagram. Thanks for following me there and pitching those these topics and that research, that impeccable research that you always do, my body language buddies. You are the architects of my success, and I owe you this. Constitutionally, nothing could prevent Edward from marrying Wallis. But he realized that doing so would set off a crisis, as members of government would resign. In November 1936, he asked the Prime Minister if there was a way he could remain king, suggesting a morganatic marriage in which Wallis would not be named queen, like having his cake and eating it too. The request was turned down. A few weeks later, at 42, Edward gave up the throne to be with Wallis, who was 40 and still married. What a simp. I have to say that. What a simp. She had mistakenly believed that she could somehow ascend to the throne and had a simple comment for Edward. You goddamn fool. This is sad. This is sad as well as you can imagine. This reminds me immediately, if you remember this Richard Gere movie, An Officer and a Gentleman, there was this subplot regarding his friend Sid, that he was dating this girl Lynette, and at some point when they are in this, they want to be Navy pilots. Okay, and there's this 10-week drill, you know, the 10-week process becoming Navy pilots. And Lynette at some point tells Sid that she's pregnant. Okay, and what Lynette wanted to is to secure the bag. She wanted to marry a Navy pilot to travel around the world, etc. You know, the whole package. And what happened is that Sid quits, like in the 8th or 9th week of the process, to marry her. And she says, you fool, it's the same process. You fool, what did you do? Why did you do that? And she basically told him that the baby was made up. There was no baby. There was no pregnancy. And so he becomes depressed. He goes to the a hotel and takes his own life. It's very sad. I watched that scene. I watched that movie as a kid, and that scene I haven't been able to take off my mind. The shock of that process, that being fooled into just quitting right at the end. Why couldn't you just go all the way through? But yes, that was tragic. There was the word tragic. I haven't been able to overcome that. Well, nice scene from a movie. Luckily fictional, but we know that it happens so many times in real life and even in more tragic ways. And that abdicating to the throne, that Edward VIII abdicating to the throne to marry a woman that, well, we're gonna know a bit more about her. It's sad, okay, and sad. There's another word for that, but I'm not gonna spoil it right now. But I'm gonna tell it later. Davis Warfield supported Wallis, then Bessie Wallis Warfield, from infancy. She attended Maryland's most expensive girls' school. That sounds familiar too, right? And hobnobbed with society's elite, learning early how to cultivate acquaintances for her own advantage. That sounds familiar enough to our favorite Duchess, right? Then, and in those circles, this meant marrying for standing and for money. She boasted that she was the first of her friends to marry, choosing the reckless pilot Spencer, who drank too much and left for months on end, providing opportunity for affairs with an Argentine diplomat and, it is reported, Italian dictator Benito Mussolini's son-in-law. Well, it gets way worse. But focusing on that, most expensive girls' school, so she was really privileged, right? I guess that was one of the reasons Meghan wanted to change that narrative. Like, I'm not that privileged. I came from a struggling household, which we did not need Tom Bauer's book to find that out. It was not needed. Oh my God, 3,500 body language bodies now. Thanks for being here. If this is your first time, we talk about the royals and human behavior and try to make sense of both things at the same time. Thanks for hitting the like button and for any of your tips with super chats and super stickers. All right. Well, it gets worse. You know that, well, in this case, Meghan had these patterns of, how can I enter this circle? How can I approach this circle? And I think he was scheming enough. We know that she was scheming. She is scheming. And she began to copy these patterns of behavior. And it makes sense. If you want to reach out to people, you have to understand what are their behaviors, what are their habits, what do they do. And because you're not going to be able to approach them if you stay in your own circle. I always tell you that you can learn something from everyone. And of course, if you use these tools and tactics for good principles, for good values, then that's okay. So what Meghan did was, I want to meet this man. I want to reach out to this man. Then somehow I need to have things in common, like go to London, be an activist, have things in common with him. And well, in some way, I can't say it directly, you know why, in some way imitating Diana, so to trigger that, yeah, you could say that she was stalking Harry in a way, okay? I have to be very careful with those words because I don't want to make some missteps and not be subject to misinterpretations. But you know how it is. Now, it's not like you're going to stalk people to manipulate them. But if you want to reach out to someone, okay, for good intentions, if you have good intentions, you want to reach out to someone, then it helps a lot if you know what are their tastes, what do they like, what do they frequent. Maybe social media helps. It helps to, oh yeah, do you see that this person likes to travel a lot? Maybe they like to travel to Asia, and then you learn a bit about the countries that they like to travel to. That gives you some kind of conversation. That is okay. That is basic empathy. You are interested in the person, and you like to get close to that person by connecting, but the things they do like. That is normal. Connecting with people. Okay. In that sense, it's not always about you. Well, in fact, persuasion is not about you. You have to be genuinely interested in other people. Now, your intentions is what makes all the difference. Okay, this is paramount. Your intentions is what makes all the difference. My question is, what were Meghan's intentions? Big difference there. Within a year, we're talking about Wallis Simpson and the similarities between Meghan and her life. Within a year of her first divorce, she was remarried to Simpson, a wealthy international shipping executive. In time, she honed her ability to navigate a route from one person to the next to the ultimate prize. Yeah, that sounds like it. By 1931, just 3 years after marrying Simpson, Wallis had met Edward at a party through a friend whose sister happened to be his mistress. I have to make a pause here, and at some point in time, someone, I guess it will have to be me, someone has to talk about Soho House and Marcus Anderson. Now, those are deep and murky and dangerous waters. I know that I think those waters extend up to Justin Trudeau. I'm sure that those waters extend that way, and that kind of people is somewhat, let's say, risky to mess up with. But I'm doing my research one step after another, and maybe at some point I'll make a video just to test the waters, but that is a bit risky. She now knew a girl who danced and more, you know what, with the Prince of Wales. It would soon be her turn to cut in. Morton writes of her scheming while married to meet the future king. Mission accomplished, Wallis wrote to her Aunt Bessie. You know, that was a mission. It was just meeting him, like making the first contact. But what came afterwards is the real deal. Now, I had to mention Tom Bauer again. Royal biographer claims Meghan Markle is very clever, very scheming, marrying Prince Harry. Of course, he's mentioning the marriage itself. Okay, a royal biographer is claiming that Meghan Markle was very scheming and very clever in marrying Prince Harry to further her celebrity status. Author Tom Bauer shared his insights about Meghan's desire to achieve fame in a calculated manner. This is incredible, and how can you foresee the events or trigger events in such a way that you get to do this? That is incredible. We have to acknowledge this is the grit, Meghan Markle's grit. We have to acknowledge that. We have to say that, her grit. After the first meeting, she latched onto the possibility and the chase, orchestrating opportunities to befriend Edward, even if it meant including her husband, Ernest, in the festivities. I highlighted this because that reminds me of those months, those critical months, May, June, and July 2016. What exactly happened over those 3 months? And why even Tom Bauer didn't dare to get into that gray area? We don't know what happened over those 3 months. She was with Cody, the chef. what was going on at that moment, when she did exactly met Harry, what was she living, who was she living with at that moment, who was she dating at that moment. This gray area that at some point someone has to come forward and say something, the actual clues. But this is fundamental, and it's all foggy, it's all gray, fuzzy, everything. It's like Will Smith judgment when he did the slap. He slapped Chris Rock. For several years, they attended dinner parties and weekend visits at Edward's retreat, becoming entrenched in London society. Thelma, Edward's mistress, even suggested that Wallis be presented at court. Oh my God. That even sounds. This is Prince Andrew's levels of shenanigans, if you know what I mean. By 1934, when Thelma was out of town, Wallis visited Edward on her 6th wedding anniversary, taking a 2-month holiday with him while her spouse sailed for New York on business. Oh, this is the moment. She seized upon what appeared to be an emotional untangling between the prince and Thelma, winning his heart and replacing her. What a way to seize the opportunity. And in the case of Meghan and Harry, I think it was more like understanding this psychology besides Harry's trauma with Diana. This is part of it. This has been discussed, well, ad nauseum everywhere, and you can't deny that Meghan took advantage of that. It's wicked, it's disturbing, it's everything that you want and more, but it is what it is. It's a bit hard to stomach this. Afterwards, Edward visited often at the London home of Wallis and Ernest. The prince became such a regular that it was he, rather than Ernest, who fixed the drinks and handed around the canapes. Very familiar, you know. Ernest, well aware of the bracelets and diamond hairpins that his wife had been given, red flags, simply complained about the cost of insurance rather than what it said about his wife's relationship. Well, another beta male, another cook, I have to say that. It's no other word to define that. Such affairs were commonplace, and when royalty was involved, so much the more exciting. Everybody had a lover in that world of high society. Divorces were difficult and expensive, so people made other arrangements. Well, class act. Can't say another thing. 4,400 body language baddies. Thanks for being here and hitting the like button. It's great to have so many of you here. And this describes our current state, our current stance towards Harry. Before he met Wallis, Edward was known as a playboy. Sounds familiar too. After, he believed that he had found the one woman who was enough for him, although no one really understood why. Well, Harry went as far as to say that Meghan was the one who saved him, and I, for one, am not going to get over that sentence in my whole life. No, I can't. I cannot. That is terrible. This is one picture. This was from their trip to South Africa. Do you remember this, right? One of their many trips to South Africa, and I remember that this is iconic. This, I understand that you can't. It's risky to get much meaning from a single picture, but this is one of the most representative pictures of Meghan and Harry. Like Meghan smiling to the audience, and that smile was a bit unnerving to watch, but whatever. Harry had his usual, well, meh attitude. I begin to think lately that Harry is genuinely interested on a private, and I underscore private life. Harry genuinely wants a private life. He doesn't want any of this. He like quit royal duties to have a private life, but his life is not private at all just because Meghan doesn't let him to have a private life, because that is not in Meghan's best interests, and we're gonna see it a bit later too. And yes, the double Markle claw in full display in this picture makes me, the only way that this doesn't look like them is that, well, Harry is not wearing a gray suit. That is the only thing. But it's maybe a light blue that could pass as light, but not it's not gray, but it's almost. Harry was a really good combination, but well, whatever. We move on, we continue, and thanks for being here and hitting that like button. Not a beauty, Wallis nonetheless had charisma, irreverence, and an ability to listen well, some maintain. Well, that not a beauty. You just saw the pictures of Wallis Simpson. I think I have to say that Meghan used to look great in some pictures, some videos. I've said that quite a few times. I haven't pulled any punches regarding that. In that regard, we have to say, I said, well, Meghan looked good, and recently she's got photos too that she looks good. Yeah, why not? But Wallis, well, she was not painting inspiration, and we have to say, I don't want to be rude. I want to be very careful with this, but you know what I mean. Other theories will exercise powerful minds for years to come. She was a low-born sorceress who used her sexual abilities to seduce the prince, the future king enthralled, to an obsession rather than love. I think, well, it's not that I think, but seduction is much more than skin deep. There's this book, it's one of Robert Greene's books that doesn't get enough praise. That is the Art of Seduction. That book, everything that has on that book, the least, it doesn't talk about it doesn't even mention, it's very superficial in terms of your appearance. If you are pretty, if you have classical beauty or anything. Seduction is a game that is much more deeper than that. It's a psychological game that, well, people are natural. There are people that are natural at that. Queen Mary believed that her son was under some kind of meddling spell that would, in time, be broken. Well, not a chance. Did not happen. In this case, well, Queen Mary, I'm going to go back to Queen Mary believed that her son was under some kind of malign spell that would in time be broken. But in this case, when talking about Meghan, I'm going to give my opinion here on what the Queen, Her Majesty the Queen, and Prince Charles, how they have acted upon this issue from the start. I think they have been way too soft in handling this situation. And I think they are, I don't know, I can't say they are unaware of the scope that this can harm the monarchy and the royal family. I can't say they are unaware, because the Queen has, well, enough experience, and Prince Charles has been by her side to, just for experience, understand the risks. But at the same time, they must have advisors to tell them this is what can happen. This is the real risk, the public relations risk, the image risk that's going to happen, and you just cannot just turn the other cheek on, look another way. Okay? At the same time, I'm sure the Queen knew all of this from the start. She knew what was going to happen, but she knew that she couldn't really do something about it. I can't do something about it. I cannot influence my grandkids' decision. Okay? That was not possible. That was not possible for her. That was not feasible for her, or something in her ethics and moral. She decided not to intervene. Oh, well, that's what we have now. That was not to be any breaking that relationship between Simpson and Edward VIII. The wedding, which the royal family avoided, took place in France. Edward's brother George VI assumed the throne, and his daughter Queen Elizabeth followed. Well, we can say that from that we had like Switzerland's flag a big plus, being Queen Elizabeth the Queen. Thanks to this, Edward and Wallis became the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, while forces raged against them. That sounds like Meghan and Harry, right? Queen Mary shunned her son, years later condemning the betrayal that she and the nation felt, writing, "It seemed," and listen to this is important, "it seemed inconceivable to those who had made sacrifices during the war that you, as their king, refused a lesser sacrifice." And that hit me in the liver. Yeah, that did hit me in the feels like a liver punch. It seemed inconceivable to those who had made sacrifices during the war that you, as their king, refused a lesser sacrifice. You know, the World War, that at that time was the Great War. It was called the Great War, if my memory is okay. How couldn't you make a sacrifice that did not mean giving your life, like so many men gave during the war? But well, he just wanted to marry this woman. She just seduced him in a way that she fogged his mind completely. He was still responsible of his actions, and that is something that I want to reinforce over and over again. At no point I'm saying that Harry is not responsible of his actions. He is. He's a grown man. He knows what he's doing, and he was advised in more than one occasion, including Prince William, about what could happen. Just take it slowly. William did not tell him, "Hey, you just should dump Meghan." Okay? William just said, "Take it slowly. Take your time." That's all that William said. Yeah, that's we got. I'm trying to read your comments at the same time, and well, that's what we got. And that, that they turned themselves into professional victims. I don't know. I don't remember at this moment who coined the term. That is perfect. They turn themselves into professional victims, and they do it so well since that South Africa trip, when Meghan asked the question, why nobody has asked if I'm okay. Really? For real? Yeah, snowflakes. That's all right. This is what we got, and it gets much worse. You thought that this couldn't get worse? It gets worse. For 2 years, Wallis and Edward lived in France until the start of World War II in 1939. Soon after, the Duke was installed as governor of the Bahamas. Following the war, they returned to France, not permitted to ever live in England. They were exiled to their own Montecito, it seems. Wallis, incensed that she would never be queen, kept up appearances, pretending to cherish the smitten Edward when she really loved someone else. For years, she was drawn to the married American and dear friend Herman Rogers, though she never managed to make him a lover. 2 days before she wed Edward, she even offered to have Herman's baby. What a lady we're talking about. Oh my God. No words. Though Wallis and Edward remained married for the duration of their lives, privately their union deteriorated. Having been cut off from the royal family, Wallis, who received death threats in the mail and was harassed in public, and Edward were typically short on money. Public harassment, short on money. Does it sound familiar? It sounds familiar to me. Something that women of the day could not tolerate. Said one, they will have no country and he no job. Can any love exist or be nourished on this slender fare? And no, it is not an easy thing for love to thrive in such a setting. So much fame, so much notoriety, but you are just a simp with no job and no way to make money. And yes, it gets even worse. What wasn't entirely clear to outsiders was that Wallis was not interested in nourishing any such affection with her husband. And I have to be harsh here. You remember my analysis of Harry's speech. And my question is, how does Meghan allow Harry to appear and have such a bad appearance, a bad anything in her speech, so lousy speech in such an important moment? How does she allow for this to happen? That it's inconceivable for anyone who has a partner and wants and loves their partner, and you want your partner to succeed, you want your partner to look good, you want your partner to impress the world in a positive way. That doesn't happen here. You see Harry ever more miserable, more and more miserable, downtrodden, and just not invested in this. Harry is not interested in this, and it shows. He is responsible, but at the same time, Meghan is aware of how important is public speaking and how important is public speaking for your brand. That's something that I don't get. Do you want your brand to fail? You want Archewell to fail because people just don't take your husband seriously? That doesn't sound like love to me or to anybody. Well, this is the worst part. This is actually the worst part. You already read the word here we have a big problem with. With Edward, her cruel streak was in full force, and he now had a lifetime to experience her sharp tongue, wild temper, the Montecito screams, wanton criticism, and utter self-absorption. In addition to the money-grubbing, distrust, and outright degradation that characterized their isolated experience, Edward was viewed as an anti-Semite and Nazi sympathizer, and Wallis went along. For God's sake! Evidence first emerged. Evidence. This is like, evidence. Evidence first emerged in 1937 when they traveled to Germany, taking tea with Hitler at his mountain lair in Bavaria. I mean, what the actual F? How do you make that kind of decisions? I think I'm going to keep on reading, and at the end of the paragraph, I'm going to tell you why do I think what I think about this. Trips to the US were subsequently cancelled, and what friends they had were horrified by their poor judgment. Edward was rendered a coward, a poor little man, and she wretched and egocentric. Their beliefs in some of Hitler's ideology, according to modern sources, further isolated them as the years went on. All right, well, I think Edward felt like she was ostracized. Well, he was ostracized. He was exiled. He was like put aside of the monarchy, of England, everything. Okay, and he desperately needed powerful friends. He wanted to make a network of powerful people, but it's not like you are begin to build that network from the bottom up. No, you already you were in the line to the throne and you abdicated. Your network, your current network, maybe doesn't want to do anything with you because you're such a loser and such a simp and such a cook in so many ways that, well, hanging out with you will be bad juju for anyone. So he decided to, well, I need new friends. I need powerful friends. What else? Hitler is a good option. Well, he abdicated the throne. He married Wallis Simpson. He made so many bad decisions. What will be another bad decision? But what a bad decision was that? Okay, those ideologies. I can tell you how bad this was, and I think he was desperate for relevance. Edward VIII must have been desperate for any kind of relevance, and that should ring you exactly the same of what Harry is doing now. Harry is desperate for any kind of relevance because there's no other way he can make the money he needs to sustain their lifestyle. They need millions. They need millions to sustain their lifestyle. I don't know how many of those friends have private jets to travel. You know, the hypocrisy of climate change and contamination and everything, and have a green planet and everything, and traveling private everywhere. Okay, you don't pay for it, but you have the friends. What kind of friends are those? Well, why so anonymous? Why so secret? Why so everything? And Harry is this kind of desperate, because Harry will be content with a private, more normal life. But Meghan won't do that. Meghan wants the whole enchilada. And the whole enchilada requires millions a year. Millions that they don't have. Okay? That's what we got. And we're moving on. By the 1960s, no one much cared about the pair. Edward again asked the Queen if Wallis could have the Royal Highness title and was shot down, I guess metaphorically. She was, though, despite the scandal, buried next to Edward at Frogmore Estate in Windsor, as is customary. He died in 1972 at age 77, and she in 1986 at 89, after suffering from dementia and living in seclusion. Oh, that's I don't know how to put this. I don't wish anyone this kind of outcome. Nobody should have this kind of outcome. What people deserve is what they sow. Okay, what they plant. If you plant hate, you deserve hate. If you plant love, you deserve love. If you plant value, you deserve riches. That's how the world should work. And if you try to break this balance in the world, and people try to break it every other day, then you will be punished. I think this was this reading from Earl Nightingale, the strangest secret in the world. If you haven't heard that, search on YouTube, The Strangest Secret. The Strangest Secret is a great reading and a great, it's like 30 minutes. It's a great reading. I strongly encourage you to listen to it. If you already know that, listen to it again. And it's at some point it talks about this. You get what you give the world. Okay, you cannot get what you haven't given the world yet. And people that try to break this balance get punished in ways that you can't possibly imagine. Yeah. And thanks, Rest in Dollface. Rest in Dollface is one of the accounts that inspired me this video. Speaking of Meghan Markle copying Wallis Simpson, she wasn't allowed titles after Edward passed or divorced. Did anyone read the financial details of Edward abdicating the throne? How he hid his assets, sold Sandringham and Balmoral, and still expected monthly lifestyle stipends? Sounds familiar, like wanting a stipend, like wanting money. Like I still need money, you know. Like my lifestyle doesn't sustain itself. We have way too many coincidences. And if there were not enough, Meghan Markle's nod to Wallis Simpson on wedding day irked royal fans. Now, I have a question here. The nod to Wallis Simpson on her wedding was that the car that took Meghan Markle to her wedding in 2018 was the same car that took Wallis Simpson to Edward VIII funeral in 1972. Now, some people claimed that whose decision was this? Was this Meghan's decision or was the Queen's decision? By the moment of creating this video, I haven't been able to find an official pronounce on this. And some people that it was either Meghan's bad taste or very British humor on the Queen's side. You decide. What do you think? What do you think was it? If it was the Queen, it was saying like, oh, you're wearing white, okay? You're wearing white. You're just another Wallis Simpson. I want to think that I was the Queen that had that keen sense of humor, but I will concede to your comments. What do you think about this? Other comments, very interesting on my Twitter timeline. Wallace made from Pen Boss 2. Wallace made zero impact on the royal family once Edward left. Not sure why M would want to copy her, but she may have thought she was making a point. It didn't work. And Karen Cox Callahan, her point was that Wallis, American woman, twice divorced, manipulated a prince who became king and caused the monarchy a major crisis. She is sending a message. Meghan is sending a message that she is like Wallis. She has torn a prince from his family and influenced him to verbally attack them. This is. Meghan has been sending a subconscious message that I'm like Wallis Simpson in this regard. I want to send this message. I ripped Harry from his family. I'm a threat to the monarchy. I'm a bigger threat than Wallis Simpson. I like to be compared to her, but in the sense that I will do what she couldn't. That's what we got. That's what we got. And I'm sure that the Queen knew this all along. I'm sure that this is interesting. This comment is interesting. My money is on Prince Philip. She put Meghan in the Wallis Simpson car. Oh, that sounds plausible. That sounds plausible. That look from Her Majesty the Queen. Oh, you dare to come to the wedding wearing white, right? Oh well. How so much that happened that there was no regard for anything that resembled decency, and that Wallis Simpson rise to what? To fame? To celebrity status? Something that is empty, if you don't have real value, it's just marrying she wanted to be queen. That was her original idea. That's why I made the reference. To the An Officer and a Gentleman movie. It's exactly the same story repeating itself. I wanted to be queen, so I marry or I seduce this man, but this man doesn't find a way to be king and marry me at the same time, so he decides to abdicate. You fool! You goddamn fool! And I quote, you goddamn fool. That is so sad to watch. This is a good picture for our to finish this live. Yes, so many similarities. Does Meghan want to take down the monarchy? What does Meghan wants? The celebrity status she already had. According to her fans, she already had that celebrity status. No, she was on her way down. She made herself a millionaire. She was a self-made millionaire. That we have the doubts about that. I'm going to say maybe she had a net worth of $1 million. Okay, but what then? Meghan's lifestyle was also a quite expensive one. What happened after is that Meghan wants to get into politics. How mad can the world be that Meghan actually making it into politics in the future? I don't know what level of madness this world, but since I've been studying humanity since 100,000 years ago, not me, humanity, I'm not a Highlander, sadly, I know that, very wacky things can happen. It's a possibility. Yeah. President Markle. It's a possibility. It's always a possibility. Yeah, it's like Terminator, Dark Fate, Back to the Future stuff, but it can happen. Okay? I'm gonna call it. It can happen. This world is mad enough, and it can get even more mad. You can tell me that you disagree, it can't happen. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I just want people to have common sense and use this kind of examples. This is not to attack a person in particular. This is not a personal attack. This is just to outline that history keeps repeating itself, and we should learn from history and interpret these patterns not only in celebrities but in our own life and our loved ones, so we can learn how to proceed and act when the time comes. My body language buddies, this was one of the greatest and most interesting live streams I've made, and thanks to you on Twitter, you're on Instagram, and you on here on YouTube, sharing this space. 5,500 body language buddies now sharing. Thanks for hitting the like button, and thanks for all your comments, your witty comments, any comments that I cannot highlight, but thanks for being here and sharing this space with me. Jesus Enrique Rosas. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas, the body language guy. I'm so glad, so excited, so I don't know what's the other word. Yeah, so full of energy for this. But this is the moment that we'll live with this energy, and expecting tomorrow to have another video, maybe another live, and have this mojo working with you, this exchange of energy that I feel with you through this marvelous channel that is YouTube in this case. Remember, two most important words: much love and bliss. Take care, because I love you all. Bye bye.